I must do that before we leave.
Thank you to the Wheeler Centre and the panellists for a very optimistic discussion this evening, but sometimes optimism meets reality and it doesn't always work out. Exporting power to Asia, I was in Tasmania a couple of months ago and we couldn't export power to Tasmania. So gold-plated power lines. I attended a day of the hearing of the lawsuit for the Black Saturday bushfires, and the arguments there was that the power lines weren't in as good enough condition. So, what's the answer there? Tim Flannery suggested that hot rocks technology was going to be a go. Geodynamics got a $90 million grant from the government. The hole's been filled in, the $90 million is gone. Geodynamic shares are 3 cents now instead of $2 or $3. Solyndra in the US blew $500 million. Ross, do you have any ideas on how we can pick winners instead of losers?
No, the way the market works, people invest in winners and losers, and the winners and losers in the fossil industries as well. No, I think if you'd put your money into a representative sample of pure coal companies around the world 5 years ago, they'd be worth 95% less than you paid for them. And yes, there are losers in renewable energy and the new technologies. I think that's part of change. We just have to accept that we need to have businesses experiment with a lot of new technologies, a lot of new things. Some will end up like Microsoft, and some will end up like Peabody Coal.
Okay. All right. Did you want to have the last word on that, Veena? Innovation.
Certainly, it sort of comes back to, of course, market forces. I mean, that's an important point, as Ross made. But I think the role for innovation, cannot be underestimated, because I think this is where we've got to be able to look at I referred to the amazing R&D before that happens in Australia. But I think where we need to be smart is how do we then translate that R&D into practical outcomes. And I think piloting and moving them up rapidly and not just randomly picking losers and winners, but to be able to say, let's allow R&D to move quickly into some test phase mode, and let's evaluate so that we can actually then, based on hard facts and data, pick winners. I think it's important. So we also know which ones are the technologies that are not going to work. It's okay to fail, but to be able to recognize that early is important. So I think if we've got R&D, let's not be shy about translating that into actual practical outcomes, trial, test, evaluate, move forward, make quick decisions. And I think that's the way we'll be able to be really smart about how we convert R&D into real outcomes.
Thank you. We're going to have to leave it there because we have run over time.